Today's December 25th, 2020, Christmas. Earlier, I was at my sister's house in Reading. There was a Nashville bombing. The phone calls of some shootings started sometime before 6 o'clock, but the actual bombing itself, I found out later, was at 6:30.
Minutes on this Christmas Day, we really appreciate it. Pretty remarkable breaking story there in Nashville. We've seen some incredible footage now that appears to be from the street, and it relays that investigators in their latest press conference revealed was coming from this RV, warning that in 15 minutes a bomb would go off, and then indeed there was an explosion. There were shots fired that drew police to the area before they found that RV. Your thoughts on the way this came to happen early this morning and what it means about the perpetrator or perpetrators?
Yesterday,
because I've been saying about the second 9/11 of Philly,
December 24th,
and Christmas being a gift, well, that's only if nobody really dies, and it's exactly the way that I've seen it happen, which is that
it's between the 6th and the 9th hour. The second 9/11 to me consists of, well, the targets are the Liberty 1 and Liberty 2, along with 17th and JFK, Penn Center Building 8, Chase Bank, because that was the bank at Chase. When you fold the back of a $50 bill, the bombing is around on the 3rd floor.
need to go if nobody gets hurt doing it. Because what is it really? It's a demolition. Do you
guys Merry Christmas to you. And I just heard you your Black Beat have witnessed here this morning in Nashville, Tennessee. This W. Sean Foundation Christmas miracle. It is a miracle that no one should at this stage that we know was actually killed as a result of this explosion.
If I could see it happen before it happens, then what I'm telling you is nobody's dying either. So you would clearly believe that. If that thing happened tomorrow.
Breaking news this Christmas morning from Nashville. An explosion that has rocked downtown Nashville sent heavy.
That riverbed sprouted up for the first time. Water actually came up from the ground. And the Comcast building is just straight rocks.
Say that a parked RV was in the middle of a road and exploded around 6:30 this morning, sending heavy black smoke into downtown Nashville. Police, fire, and federal authorities are on the scene investigating right now. We're told that they're being very cautious around this explosion sites. Videos posted to social media show a very chaotic scene moments after the explosion. In one video, you can see what appears to be a vehicle on fire near buildings that appear to have been badly damaged from the explosion. An individual we spoke to this morning with the Metro Nashville Police Department.
So it's all about similarities. It's Route 3, which is JFK Boulevard, 17th and JFK, which is Penn Center Building 8, which is Chase Bank.
One of the things it could very well also be is a trial run for something bigger.
So as he's saying, it can be a trial run for something bigger. Bank Street. It's not a bombing at 17th and JFK, but it is a bombing in Nashville on Christmas. And it did happen from the 6th hour. It was at 2nd and Commerce Street, right along with Gay and Church and Bank Street.
This stage, but one of the things it could very well.
I just think you can't even make. You can make the signs up to have Gay Church Street, and then the bank. So as he's saying, it could very well be things to come further, and then
also be is a trial run for something bigger. And so I'm sure that the authorities
hear that. You see that bank right there? Something bigger.
Individuals perhaps in the Nashville community that may also have personal beefs. So,
as he says, that could very well be the basis for artist terrorist acts.
Find this person or
Route 3,
people as quickly as
JFK
possible.
Boulevard.
Ted Williams, thank you so much for joining
Ted
us on
Williams.
this Christmas Day. We really
William Penn.
When things are connected like that, that's how I know I'm hearing Kleck clearly. Kleck knows I'm hearing him clearly. I mean, vice versa. And then those are those little tidbits, those little. He put his fingerprint on it.
it's a trial run for something bigger.
There, I was there. That worked. I put my fingerprint on. I was there at that time. That worked. Going all the way to how just setting up the flags. Just setting up the flags. It's
Injured this morning from, when you consider all the videos that we see on
Yeah,
social media.
we understand that this happened at 6:30 a.m. That comes from the Nashville Police Department's Twitter account. Buck McCoy, whose video we referenced on the ground, which sort of gives us the best perspective of the cars burning and others, he lives in the area. He posted the videos on Facebook.
Injuries, but there's not been any deaths reported at this immediate time. But you have the bomb squad, you have federal agencies as well as the local agencies that are on that scene. And it is now, I'm sure, considered a crime scene.
TV, but if they zoom back in, you'll see this looks like a pedestrian area with bars and restaurants downtown. If this had happened at 6:30 at night and restaurants in Tennessee are open and serving, we'd have a very different situation than we have at 6:30 in the morning.
See, and I said that. That's why they're going to use this all against me and then point it out and say that I'm the one that did it when it happens the 17th in JFK on New Year's Eve into New Year's morning, and we see the same news story happening. But it's at 6:30, and when things happen early in the morning, and I've said this about as many times as I predicted a second 9/11 in Philly, that by them doing it early in the morning, 5:55 a.m. or 6 o'clock, the darkness from the 6th hour to the 9th hour on Christmas, then that 9th, from the 6th to the 9th, where'd he go? Especially being on a weekend or a day when everything's closed down, a holiday, then that's the elite would know, the ones running this would know that that's the best chances of nobody getting injured or killed.
Zillion, you're absolutely right. This would have happened at any other time other than the period of time here early in the morning. We could very well be looking at something more catastrophic. It is no doubt about it, it's my understanding that there have been
Two witnesses dead in the street.
There's not been any deaths reported at this immediate time. But you have the bomb squad injuries, but there's not been any deaths reported at this immediate time. But you have the bomb squad, you have federal agencies as well as the local agencies that are on that scene. And it is now, I'm sure, considered a crime scene. All throughout the country now, law enforcement are on alert for other explosives such as is taking place here in Nashville.
Yeah, it looks so, as we were looking at these are live pictures from Sky 5, News Channel 5 in North Carolina, over what is now called an intentional act of a large explosion in downtown Nashville. The area you're looking at right now is a very popular bar and restaurant area in downtown Nashville. The explosion happened at 6:30 a.m. That would be 6:30 a.m. Central Time, so about 2.5 hours ago.
Whatever time.
And you can see that it destroyed much of the ground level of an entire city block.
Whatever time zone that it happens in whatever city is the time that I go by.
Where there's a number of bars.
Is that a snake?
Of an entire city block, where there's a number of bars and restaurants, cafes. Ted Williams, former DC homicide detective and former federal agent, is with us. You make a good point, Ted. You know, we've seen things happen on Christmas Day before. I'm thinking about the shoe bomber and other events like this. How difficult is it to get things going from a federal response at 7 a.m. on a Christmas morning versus, 8 or 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday morning?
Is he trying to connect the dots with the next event on Tuesday morning? Another bombing? Because they're leading into the fact that there's going to be more bombings. It's their own words. That's how you know that this theme is heading towards bombings. And when you look at whichever the other one was, you look at the street, the signs of the streets. They give you what's coming up next. So the bank reference at 17th and JFK has always been the main target of Route 3, and then they show you the number 3 inside of their videos. So obviously what they're doing is just showing you where it's going to head to next.
This area will be videotaped, because only living in this area will be videotaped, because the videotapes in this area, and most of the area in Nashville, and I am familiar with this area, there are video cameras throughout the area. And so we will at some stage see the actual explosion itself, I believe. And also there may very well be other clues of who bought that supposedly vehicle to that
we're looking
area.
here what is called their air. So
apparently this is live. It's 9:11 a.m. and there's still darkness in the land because of these cars are still on fire, even into the 9th hour.
Seeing what they are seeing in real time. This appears to perhaps be a view down one of the streets towards where this explosion took place. It'd be hard to imagine a couple of hours later that there's still cars on fire there. And if you look at where the fires are, there's a pretty big distance between them. And the force of an explosion to set these cars on fire and to clear out this entire block of this business district has to be pretty significant. Ted Williams with us. And Ted, as we think about the issue you brought up, which is the closed circuit television cameras that are going to be all over an area like this, how long does it take from the time you start getting the ATF and the FBI on scene to when they're going to be able to get those videos and those tapes? Quote, before 6 o'clock this morning, police received a report of a suspicious vehicle on 2nd Avenue North outside the AT&T building. An officer responded and upon investigating had reason to call the hazardous device units. Based on the timing there, it would have been before 6 o'clock in the morning the call came in. By 6:30, you had an explosion. And something about the vehicle had whoever showed up call out the hazardous device units, which I think is a more technical term for the bomb squad, correct?
Yes, it is. And but that is good information that you are teaching our public right now, our viewers, because that means that they had some time to make sure that the area was clear. And so I'm sure that all...
Again, as many videos I've talked about with understanding how is it possible that any of these bombings can happen on a planet and nobody's actually dying? How is that possible? Well, at least here, now, you know, you could have heard a whole bunch of people died of the bombings, but as of now, you heard that nobody did. So they're demonstrating how nobody can, even if these bombings do happen, and it just takes place out of nowhere. But the earlier, because I know that it's like once they keep happening, obviously, if I get it right, which is the 17th and JFK, and it seems like it's leading up to that point, then how? I mean, of course I'm going to get locked up. And you know, that's the whole point of all of it is, so what's going to happen after that? After I get locked up, then what? How am I going to prove that it wasn't me that did the bombings? Well, I could be sitting in jail for a long time trying to prove something that I would have to have my videos, and I have a lot of time to prove the evidence of just how circumstantially I'm just figuring out what whoever's behind this is, where they're going, but what they're really doing is it's a fear tactic, and they strategically set things up that are well planned out, because as you see, what they're saying is this was intentional. So their thoughts are this was intentional. And why would it be intentional when nobody even died either? And the RV is the one that set the alarm inside of the car. It was telling people to evacuate the area. That's what they're saying. The RV with the bombs in it had a recording telling people to evacuate, get out. So you may hear that again, and this could be the beginning of the bombings of various places, because that's what the newscasters said, that it's leading up to, this is just like a trial run. And he says it as as it shows the bank, and he does it one more time in the video.
Anything at this stage, but one of the things it could very well also be is a trial run for something bigger. And so I'm sure that the authorities
hear that. You seen that bank right there? Something bigger.
Individuals for RV.
Yeah, well, this was certainly a bold and dangerous, thankfully not deadly.
JFK Boulevard is Route 3.
It was quickly.
And Route 3 also, on the back of a $50 bill, when you fold it, that bombing, that looks exactly like 17th JFK Street. It looks like the explosion is on the 3rd floor.
Well, this was certainly a bold and dangerous, thankfully not deadly.
JFK Boulevard is Route 3.
As quickly as possible.
First, extend a happy celebration of the birth of the Messiah Day. I am working on a Christmas present for everybody. The Lord, I have to share with you what happened as a servant. Just if your boss were to call you into his office.
Hey, that's funny because my boss, well, he didn't call me into the office, but the day before, Wednesday, my boss said, because he came around with Christmas bonuses, and he said, I just want to thank you for the work that you've done this year. I really appreciate it. And then threw me a $1,000 bonus.
And say, hey, I want to tell you, you did a great job this year. I just,
while my phone was in my pocket,
want to let you know you did a really good job. If a boss were to do that for an employee that had been really diligently working, it would just make the employee's day.
I did. I felt good because I appreciate Dave giving me a job for the past 2 years. Even though it's not the most challenging job, I really like building stuff and hoping the time doesn't go by in a day opposed to can time just go by already. It's a difference in mentality. When you have the mentality where when you're working and you're hoping not too much time is going by because you want to get more stuff done, that's the idea work that a human being can appreciate instead of looking at the clock always and just knowing that you're wasting your life. So it's about having something to do to actually enjoy. So I thank my boss, and it was nice of him to hand out people's bonuses.
Well, my boss, I serve the King, I serve the Most High, and he did the most surprising, it's the greatest thing he could have done for me, was to give me just the perfect peace of heart and peace of mind. Job well done, Jonathan. And the way he did it was so mind-boggling. I wasn't expecting it. I had no idea. It just happened out of nowhere, and the way he did it was so exciting. I was just like, woohoo, no way. I was so excited. I can't explain having done all this work for the kingdom, and for him to confirm the perfection of the work, that it was done correctly. So anyway, I'm organizing the data, and I'm organized. So what I'm going to do for everybody is just a Christmas present.
Merry Christmas, my pleasure.
For more reaction on this, Molly, let's bring in Bernard Zaper, former ATF special agent.
Wouldn't that be funny if that was Click himself behind another mask? It could be. He doesn't.
School of Criminology.
I mean, he kind of has a face mask look.
And criminal.
When you can't really see people's teeth either, it makes it easier to not really be able to see.
Justice. Bernard, thanks for being with us. Ted Williams brought up an interesting point, and I've heard from other law enforcement sources that this could be some sort of dry run or an indication of more similar explosions to come. What do you think?
Yeah. This is a bank. It is the number 8 Penn Center. Building 8. So again, as he's asked by this guy, I think it was asked by the woman before, asked by this guy, when it shows you the bank, it shows you Gay Street, Church Street, Bank Street, as he says it, talking about it could be more to come.
And I've heard from other law enforcement sources that this could be some sort of dry run or an indication of more similar explosions to come. What do you think?
Yeah, I think 17 JFK is definitely there. So because that's where the bank is, Chase. As he's saying it, the first time it was the referee, he was saying it interviewing with the lady, and then this time the other guy is interviewing the referee again, and as he's saying more to come, here comes the bank, Chase Bank.
What the potential motive would be, the number of conspirators, and what the overall intent of it was. I mean, it's complex because obviously there's so much damage.
And also Gay Street. Hey, look, it's the green light. They're giving you the green light.
Conspirators, and what the overall intent of it was. I mean, it's
Now I heard 8 because he stopped. But it doesn't make sense to say 8, but that's what I heard.
The overall intent of it was. I mean, it's complex because obviously there's so much damage done in the blast area, the last 8.
Obviously there's so much damage done in the blast area, the last 8. But then the blasting.
Intent of it was. I mean, it's complex because obviously there's so much damage done in the blast area, the last 8. I'm sure they're still doing it. There's so much damage done in the blast area, the last 8. I'm sure there's the last 8. I'm sure they're still doing it.
What do you say, 8? Penn Center 8. Explosion rocks. 17th and JFK is this is the area. This is the dry ground, desert, the rocks, chops. It's all rock, solid rock. That's when that water sprouted up. 8:48 a.m. both days, July 8th and October 21st. Also, keep in mind when Biden was taking his victory speech, standing in front of the Chase Bank symbol. Penn Center 8.
For example, somebody that was doing, cleaning work or maintenance or something, until these employers start checking.
So listen to how he gives the bomber credit for knowing that it's early in the morning, people aren't around, and to warn them to get out of the way. So then what would be the entire purpose of the bombing? When you're not, it's like, is this some kind of a kind bomber? That he doesn't want you to get hurt and die, but he needs to blow something up to prove something somewhere for whatever reason?
And with personnel that have codes, like incineration, the presence of significant
Rockefellers.
from this type of criminality.
Yeah, and the timing and methodology are really curious and I would think helpful to investigators. Doing it on Christmas morning at a time when the bomber knew the streets would be virtually empty, broadcasting a warning to people so they would not be hurt or injured potentially by
For New Year's Eve.
So, perhaps firing shots to prompt the 911 call.
There are no suspects nor motive behind a bomb that detonated inside a parked RV on Nashville's historic 2nd Avenue near Lower Broadway. So reference with Broadway, Broad Street, JFK Boulevard is Route 3. .911 calls were flooded in. Like all the calls were flooded. AT&T service disruption cripples 911. I've said before that in 17th and JFK, there's the Comcast building is across the street. So when a Comcast building is across the street and something happens with that, I said that would knock out our internet service. Comcast time. You see the loo?
Facing threat that currently at the public facing threat, the public facing threat that currently at.
Or is that an L2?
Threat that currently at. There is the investigative response, regardless of how they're doing this, that takes significant amount of teamwork, superior communication, and somebody is thinking in the abstract to put it together.
Well, I think we appreciate your time this morning.
And then I'll show you the way he rolled out. Your quest has come to an end. All arranged. I'm doing that right now. Right now I'm arranging all the information. I have all the pics. I've screenshotted everything from the movie. I'll just tell you guys right now, the movie that he used. I'll just give you a little, spoiler alert. So anyway, okay, I'm just going to give you a quick little testimony. So here's what happened. So the other day, I've taken these steps of faith. I put the wind blades out, next level roofing. I did what he said. He took me to the barn door. Everyone that went to dinner there with me freaked out. We were like, what? Because everything on the walls was just a confirmation of, he told me to put the wind blades out, and the guys literally are raising the flag at Iwo Jima. And it, a V-Day, I'm the V for Vengeance guy. Before dinner, the Lord told me to make it known that he had told me to put the wind blades up, the V for Vengeance, right side up.
See, after dinner, just to make it known, not really to put them up, but to just make it known that I hear you.
Into. Until he walked me down the canyon, he said, right here. And those of y'all that watch it, I put out my blue tarp there. He told me exactly where to put it down. And oddly enough, as I left that place to go jump,
This is a
and I
blue
went
tarp.
to go catch my flight an hour away, when I left, a raging, flash flood in the desert came through that canyon. And
Yet last night, this rain, because before that, those two flags, they bent because the pole was too thin. It's the first time making them. And then so I put them up higher on the roof. between the windows, one on each side. Last night, the wind blew Christ off Christmas side. Just straight, the wind came by and separated them from Mary. And it was in my backyard. Matter of fact, a devouring wind came by and just, it even tore the screws out. The screws came with it. And it kind of just destroyed the Christ flag. A devouring wind came by and cast the truth down to the ground. It prospered and succeeded all night long. So right now, Mary, she's all alone.
And that red X, it left half of it filthy dirty, and the other half was perfectly clean. And there was a clear stream running on the clean half. You couldn't even think that up.
Also from the sky, the clean side, the water that came down was right here. Well, it came up, but that's on the clean side because that's right over here. It's right over there with the clean side. From this to the alterations on this end down. And only water came from here that one day. Nothing from the other side. Just here, Love Park. All year long. Nothing from the other side.
It's true, there's half that's filthy dirty, the half that we commingled with, and the other half was clean. It's come to an end, you've got it. I'll show you the way he showed me, and he used the movie Da Vinci Code to do it. Now, I want to be very clear. The Da Vinci Code is a really twisted movie trying to say that there's the bloodline of Jesus, that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' wife, and they had a royal baby, and all through the ages, that bloodline has existed. And they're guarding the Holy Grail, which is really a female from that bloodline, as all the descendants, go.
I didn't even know that was in the movie, but that is the whole point. This isn't about an actual bloodline of Jesus or Mary. It's in your blood. It's like, man, that person's cold-blooded. Well, you're cold-blooded. Doesn't mean you actually have cold blood, but it's in the blood. It's in your DNA.
It was really a